this is either a part 2 that's going to air first or a part 1 that became, I don't know. Let's start the show.
The Tom Kelly Show. Everybody, I want you to go to the Tom Kelly Show. I want you all to know about the Tom Kelly Show.
And then there will be music playing.
I like that.
And content warning, spoiler alert. What do you want to know about Dom? You are experiencing the Tom Kelly Show. Dom's been here for half an hour. I recorded one podcast with him where I was trying to recreate the old magic. To get you to light up and tell a great story. And honestly, I started rambling about my own sad stuff. We got deep, we got real. It's a great show wherever I get it to air. But at the very end, Dom asked a question that could be the 20-minute podcast I'm dreaming of. At the end of our last show, you said, it was something along the lines of, I say things on stage about things I want people to know about me. Is that about what you said?
Yeah.
So I guess my question for you is, what do you want people to know about Dom?
Oh, wow. That's a really good question.
I mean, on so many fronts.
Yeah.
So when you go on stage, you tell people things you want them to know about you.
Yeah, I'm starting to. Just like sharing old stories. I'll tell you what I like to do is to create something for everybody to feel good, when I'm on stage. Like, I'll just think of a story or a way to make people feel good. But I think everybody has these little stories. Like, every single person, I'm no different than everybody else. So when I talk about, my Uncle Hank, they'll remember theirs. I got an uncle that, that's always there. So I'll just talk about him. And I find that's better for me than writing jokes. And people tend to like it more. So...
Yeah. So who's Uncle Hank?
Well, he's my uncle. He's real cool. I feel like I'll be delivering a bit if I do, but
you could deliver a bit or no,
a bit that's not wrote or whatever. But
no, but so he's someone who matters to you.
Yeah. No, he's just just all about my family. That's who Dom is, I guess. Just a guy from Ohio that's living in New York or whatever, and I just tell stories, I guess, about my life. I'm sure you got stories that you only remember and you'll be like, oh man, that's always.
So it's funny. It's funny. I'm 20 blank years in the game and I'm still trying to figure out what version of me I want to be. And what I find is I'm almost like, you ever watch the cartoon Voltron? God damn it, Transformers.
No.
God damn it, when all the little robots, Power Rangers.
Oh, okay, yeah, and they jump into the big robot.
And they all merge into the big robot.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out, there are moments where I feel like when I'm all cheery and clappy, it's like, oh, that's fake. That's not really me. And then there are times where I feel like I'm depressed and nobody wants to be, that's not good radio. That's not good podcasting.
Yeah.
That's not this. But they're all parts of me. And I also find with stand-up, the hard part with stand-up is the stage time is fleeting.
Yeah.
The honest to God truth is with the podcast. If I want to tell a story about, getting into a fight with a samurai sword wielding homeless guy on Jones Beach, I can do 20 minutes on that.
Yeah.
I'm not affected by people's eyes glazing over. I'm not affected by the show booker saying, God, he's doing the samurai guy story again. That went nowhere. And, it's funny. Half a comedy is about my desperation to impress people. And then I'm realizing I wonder if that's holding me back too. It's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I seen you check the record button.
No, yeah, I checked the record button. No, but yeah, and even too, you get into, there's two sides of Tom. There's what I want to put out there, and I don't know. It's funny that question meant a little more to me than it may have been very casual for you. No. I always do what I find I get the laughs on.
Yeah.
What I don't want people to know about me, sometimes I podcast for hours and I forget to hit record.
Yeah. That question was deep, actually. So it's still setting in, I guess, even with my friends, recently. So I used to ask myself, I moved to New York 10 years ago. And I remember I used to always be funny. And I was like, man, I don't get it. My friends, we'd all be cracking up for hours, me and my buddies. And, you get them running from you and you're just laughing for hours. And, then I just been out in New York, and I was in this state of like, you get around the wrong people. They're depressing. And I'm no longer around my roots and my friends. So now that I'm reconnecting with some of my friends, being more myself on stage is coming from calling old friends after 10 years and just talking to them and cracking up and being like, yo, that's why I was so funny. Like, some of me is my best friend Matt coming out. Some of me is my best friend Dave, or, I know
exactly what you're saying. Like, listen, the theme for the podcast this year is getting back to the fun. Whatever that means. But now for me, it's on stage, it's performing, and I feel like for you, it might be a little bit of that too. And you're right. For me, listen, using the line Voltron, or for you young kids, Power Rangers, my college buddies, there were 5 of us. I'm only talking really to one left. There were 1, 2, 5 of us, at least 5 core roommates. And we were, as a group, powerful. As a group, we were harassing. We had the good-looking guy. We had the borderline. I don't want to say. I'm trying to find a better. We had the angry, sort of goofy, slow guy.
Yeah.
We had a guy who was. We had the big guy.
Yeah.
We had the intellectual guy, and then I would argue in many ways. I mean, I was the on-air comedy guy or whatever. I was the heart and soul, I would say sometimes, or sometimes I was just a little piece of all of them, and that bled into whatever my humor was at the time. And so it's funny when you get back to the fun. For you, it's getting back to people you used to know.
Yeah, so I was always kind of shying to myself. And I think when I was 15, I went back to my hometown. I changed back to my school, where I get to go to school with kids that I grew up with. And but I didn't really know any of them, but I just felt comfortable being in my hometown. And I made lots of these cool friends. In 9th grade, I just made a lot of new friends. And
but in a place where you were familiar.
Yeah, as my grandmother lived a block away. I used to go home for lunch and walk away. I'd walk to school for lunch or whatever. But I met all these new friends that I never had before. I used to kind of hang by myself and just with one of my buddies. And then I met all these guys, and we would just crack up. These kids were crazy. These kids were nuts. And I'm lucky I had this time to grow up with them. And so they were really the funny ones. So me just hanging with them made me so much funnier.
No, and it's funny. Like, I'll say that about other comedians, is not our guys, or not a lot of the people we know, but sometimes the people we aspired to be, if that makes sense. Listen, Dom and I know each other from the LOL Comedy Club. The greatest tragedy of my 2023 is it closed.
Yes.
And the greatest potential gift of 24 is that it closed. It's forcing me to get out. It's forcing me to talk to people I don't always talk to. But here I am, of course. What's that?
Drink clean water.
Oh, God. Yeah, I went in. But some of the things there was I'd go in, do my jokes, and get the hell out. And I would be careful about who I hung out with there. But I find other comedians get very like, I want to be fair. I'm trying to be better than you. Whereas when you hang out with your local buddies, they're just being fun.
They're just being fun, cracking up. I just called my buddy that I haven't talked to in forever, and everything out of his mouth was hilarious. And I'm like, yo, I forgot this, hanging with this guy. You are who you hang out with a little bit. At least I am. And for a while, I was hanging around a bunch of bitter people, and I changed that this year. So maybe that's a big change that you've seen.
Yeah, I see. We were talking about this. I think, listen, without blowing smoke up your ass, I think a little bit of success has been good for you.
Yeah.
Since Dom has appeared on the Tom Kelly Show 9 months ago, your Instagram has shot up.
Yeah.
You are working more on cruise ships.
Yeah.
And without rehashing the whole other podcast we just did, doing a hyper-local bit with you from the podcast and putting it on Instagram made me realize, wow, maybe hyper-local stuff will work.
Yeah, wow. Okay,
yeah. And honestly, you were a part of 3 or 4 other successes I had. And a couple of them have really worked, and a couple of them made me go, okay, maybe not. But yeah, your one story about Youngstown, which was also was a very clever and unique story. But it made me go, all right, wait, these are not just people. It's people who have an attachment to Ohio commenting on this.
Yeah.
I don't know, that made me think something, but I was going somewhere with this. But there is a maturity to you, and I think it comes from your success, but it also, you're telling me about filtering out bitter people. Yeah. Without giving me names and without bashing your ex-girlfriend who you just broke up with. Was it anyone besides the ex-girlfriend?
No, just anybody. You know, I meet so many people, like you said, traveling. You might meet an opener somewhere, or you might be on the ship with like 4 comics, or you might be like whatever, doing the same clubs or whatever, being around just in general in my life, like a lot of comedians that are negative, I kind of cut out of my life. But also, I brought back in a lot of my great friends. So I made a little clean in the house, you know. And Youngstown, a lot of people know about me because, like, you know, Kill Tony's from Youngstown. Same hometown.
Okay, and for those, explain to a lot of my fans may not know Kill Tony.
Okay,
I know
Kill
who he
Tony,
is.
yeah.
Yeah, he's on the show's in Austin, and what's his gimmick?
He's he's a comedian. He's got a podcast where it's like the modern day Tonight Show for comedians. Comics are going on and they're getting successful and meeting audiences, and it's a great thing. It's really like a great gift to comedy. It's like it's pretty much.
But it's a lot. It's what, 5 comedians per show doing a minute or 2.
I don't know exactly, but yeah, it's a
like
comics going up.
Now, did you know him?
It's
though?
like an open mic. Well, just in passing, I think he's a year older than me, and he left before. And then we got Boom Boom Mancini's from there, who's a great lightweight champion boxer, and Kelly Pavlik. He's from there. And
What does Kelly Pavlik do?
He was a middleweight champion of the world.
So it's funny, and my buddy Charlie Jaquillard, his brother Chad Jaquillard, they're from Toledo, and Chad now is based out of Detroit, which is an hour away. But Chad's apparently a big boxing coach. Is Ohio a big producer of boxers?
Well, we had a few from there. Those ones, a couple world champs.
Did you box?
I did a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. So, and now, what made you box as a kid? I think I know the answer, but I want to hear the answer.
I think watching Rocky movies.
Really?
Honestly. Yeah. I don't know. I just got into it. All my uncles boxed. My uncle was like a Golden Gloves champ, and my dad used to always like train and stuff. So I boxed a little bit and had some fun with it. My heart wasn't really in that. You know, when I didn't have friends, I used to box like crazy. And then I started hanging out with these guys. I was having too much fun to go to the boxing gym because I was 16, and I'm telling you, these guys would just be like over the wall, like they dress in panda suits and like they'd knock on people's doors or run around. Like I remember my one buddy, which looking back on it, I feel bad. I had nothing to do with it. He used to give me a ride to school, and he would be in a car and he'd just drive into people's cars in parking lots. I'd be like, bro, what are you doing?
Cars?
Like he'd be at Perkins, like at a little Waffle House or whatever before school, and we'd be leaving Perkins. And this is just like, I just met these guys and he's giving me a ride to school. So I don't know anybody. I'm trying to make friends, and I need the ride to school. So,
but wait, you need a ride to school so bad though that you're witnessing crimes along the way there.
They pick me up. We go to Perkins before, and he'd be like, "All right." He'd be like, "Let's see here. We're gonna go." And he'd start beeping on the horn all loud, and everybody in Perkins be looking, "What? What do you want?" You know, they'd be coming out. He'd be waving people outside.
Wait. So explain what he would do. He would
beep on the horn in the parking lot.
Oh, beeping on. Oh, yeah. He wasn't ramming his car into other cars.
No, just beeping the horn. You know, beep, 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 beep. People come outside, and then he did. He just drove into everybody's car.
So wait, I did have that right. He would just drive his car into another car?
Yeah, like after beeping them out. And it's just crazy. Like, I'm not laughing on that, saying that's funny, but you got to think you just get a ride to school from somebody that you just met, and then they do that. And then he's just like, oh, no, it's all right. I just barely bumped it. I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
Wait, and did you feel an obligation to call the cops? Was he damaging the other cars?
They probably did get damaged, but no, like I didn't feel an obligation to call the police.
Okay, did you have a fear that you were going to be arrested as an accomplice?
No, I guess it didn't even really come up on me in the part, and nothing ever happened of it. But that was like the first time I met the kid that took me to school.
Well, I always love this. What happened to the guy who used to drive you to school, who used to bump his cars into other cars?
I don't know. I haven't seen him in years. We ended up moving in together, actually, when I dropped out of school, and we moved in together in a house we rented. And he was always just a funny guy, but we worked at this place, a call center together. And we had this car with it was an 85 Monte Carlo. The windows wouldn't go down. I bought it for like $300. Another classic Ohio story. And I got this car so cheap, and it was like, it was a beat up car. But so the windows wouldn't go down. Summertime, we have to wear suits to this call center. Me and him are living together, 18 years old, fresh out of high school. And we're driving there. We would have to drive with the doors open because it would be 100 degrees. Yeah.
Wait, you would drive on the highway with the doors like...
Well, we didn't drive the highway. It was back streets, but like 35. And we would have the car doors open because it was so hot in
And
the
your
car.
door is going into the other lane.
Well, it's kind of a quiet street. You got to be careful with it. But we would drive there with the doors open. You get all this wind, and it's what we had to do. It was hot in the car. But we would show up and work at this call center, and man, he just would act nuts when we were working. It was I never laughed so hard in my life.
Oh, there's nothing better than a call center job if you're
and then you could
trying to get fired.
Yeah, and they won't never fire you. We all did the meeting. We get in, and we're working there. And after a while, we're just like, yeah, this ain't working. We're like, I hate this job,
What were you calling for?
Just to raise money for something. I can't even remember. They give you this script like, hello, we're here for like the...
Oh, it would have been great if you were a car warranty guy. I would have loved you to be the car warranty guy.
Yeah, no, some insurance company, like homeowners insurance, similar stuff though.
Okay.
And... and I'd just be lying to the people. You're supposed to stick to the script. And me and him would be sitting next to each other, slipping in stuff, and then they'd be like, oh, your dog's barking. Can you do me a favor? Kiss it on the nose. That quiets dogs down. And the boss would come over. He's listening on the calls. He'd be like, did you say kiss the dog on the nose? He'd be like, no, I never said that. And, or just little things like that. Like, either way, we quit for like 3 weeks one time. And then we were like, man, we got to go back to work. We thought we'd get different jobs. And we really quit. Like, he was like, screw you guys. He went off, man. Like, he took the grill. They had this little grill, and he took it. And he's like, we're leaving. And he grabs the grill.
Wait, he took a grill from the...
Yeah, George Foreman. There
was a George Foreman grill at the...
Yeah. He grabbed it.
Did you bring the George Foreman grill? We just stole the George Foreman grill.
He just took it and left.
He stole someone else's George Foreman grill.
Well, it was like a company grill, I guess.
The shared grill, and then he never went back again.
Yeah, well, evidently, so there was a miscommunication thing. He had something there that was of equal value that was lost. So he's like, I'm taking this grill. And he's just a funny guy. But so either way, we would just be assholes, like even just to be funny or whatever. But we quit for like 3 weeks, and then we go back, and then we start working again like nothing happened. And we just show up, and they're like, "Hey, buddy, like what's going on?"
Like you would just show up at the job and hope that
3
they would
weeks
reactivate
later,
you?
we just sat down and started working. You didn't
even, did you punch a time card or anything? How did you even know your paperwork was in the system?
That. You just go in, you just show up, you go to an open desk and you work. It was a call center job.
But the paycheck came.
I don't really, it was back then you had to keep the paycheck there. I don't know, to be honest. I can't remember.
No, but like whatever it is, you started getting paid again.
No, well, so basically, no. We sat down there, we go to the place and we sit down to start working again, like, we just walked in, basically.
This is an episode of Seinfeld, dude.
And
this is a real plot of Seinfeld.
I mean, Seinfeld covered everything, I feel
No,
like.
but George really quit a job, got mad he quit, and then went back in on Monday and said, oh, I was kidding.
Yeah. So either way, we were like, yeah, we just took some time off. I mean, I feel like you can almost take any single life experience and say that's Seinfeld. Well, like my girl just got a nose job. She broke up with me. That's Seinfeld. But that's what's so great about that show.
But did that really happen?
We didn't keep working there.
Wait, you did not drop that. Did your girlfriend?
I guess I didn't finish the episode of Seinfeld yet. So we walked in to try to work there again after 3 weeks. And basically it didn't work out. I forgot where I was going with it, actually. But
you went back in. I'm sorry to derail you. But you went back in. You started making phone calls as if nothing had happened.
No, there was something the boss said. I'm sorry, I lost track of. No. I honestly lost track of what I was about to say.
No problem, because I want to bring you back on another thing you kind of lost track on. The setup for this story is classic Dominic Leonelli.
What's that?
You're like, yeah, I knew this guy, and then I bought a Monte Carlo for $300. I dropped out of high school, and then we moved in together, and then you just dropped 5 like major things I didn't know about you. You dropped out of high school.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever finish?
No, I went to a place and got like my GED.
Okay, you got a piece of paper.
Yeah, we went in like 20 minutes and just finished school.
What year did you drop out?
I think like 2003, and I moved out and had like a little party house. So
See, that's the kid. See, that's the kid I kind of remember. A guy who had the vibe of, I have a party house somewhere.
Yeah.
What was your party house like?
It was me and Todd. That's what I guess I was getting to, the kid I lived with at the call center. So, yeah, we basically lived together when I was still supposed to be in high school. So
and
all
was
my
he
friends
older
would
or
come
younger?
over the house. He was a grade above me. So, and like, you know, his friends would always come over. Like, dude, they would do silly stuff. Like, I'd be at work and it's, you know, 18-year-old kids owning a house, and I'd be coming home from work. They'd be in these short shorts, aluminum foil, because they worked at restaurants. So they'd have all this aluminum foil from these restaurants, like industrial, 3,000 feet of aluminum foil. And they'd be in short shorts like Daisy Dukes, and they'd go on my roof and do this whole thing. They're just the funniest kids in the world.
What would they do with the tinfoil?
They'd be putting it on my roof, and they'd be
to make the house hotter.
No, just to be fun, just to do a funny prank. So, you know, they're just on my roof putting tinfoil on. When I come home from work, they're in these short shorts. They're telling the neighbors like it's some solar panel thing. And they're like, yeah, if you want us to do your roof. And they're like doing, you know, my roof with tinfoil. It's just a funny thing you would never really experience. They always did. Like one time I woke up and had like 150 milk crates in my front yard. Like they did stuff like that. You know, like it was around the Jackass days. I don't know what I did with them, actually. Yeah, we probably had to dry. I always had a lot of milk crates. I put them in the garage. Like, yeah, I just had them.
Like, I mean, do you build a wall? I mean, did you like?
They just had them all over the thing. You know what I did with some of them? I made a stage to do stand-up comedy on for my. Even before I did comedy, I used to do it like a little bit back then. But yeah, I can't remember what we did with those damn things.
No, because I'm picturing you now on a milk crate stage with a tinfoil background.
We counted them. I knew there was 168. I'll never be able to forget that. I sold them on Craigslist. That's what I did.
They're valuable stuff.
I remember a dude showing up.
My father used to attain them at times.
Yeah, I remember people being like, yeah, man, I really needed these crates. And it's just, so we ended up selling them, I guess. But these guys would be silly, man. All the time, they were always up to some crazy prank. Like they had this thing, they were going around selling dough or whatever, and they would throw dough at people.
Like what kind of dough? Pizza dough?
Yeah, and then a cop pulled us over one time. Like I was like 16, you know, we're just being kids. And he's like, what? He leans his head in the car. He goes, something smells like pizza dough. We had like 30, we had a big trash bag full of pizza dough. This is before TikTok. This is what we did for fun. You know, leaving dough on people's porches. It was the funniest thing in the world does. And we're like, oh, we just drive around with pizza dough. But there was like no crime or nothing going on, you know.
So it's funny. Like you get into this thing of TikTok. You just said it. Like you would do these things just for fun.
Yeah.
Does recording it make you a dick? Or like, you know what I like about you guys? You guys were just dicks for being, or not dicks, but you were pranking for the sake of pranking.
Yeah. Just for the sake of laughing, and my one buddy was real good. We'd go places, and he'd always we watched Tom Green and stuff. So that type of comedy, where you're like messing with somebody. It was like before the prankster shows, like that one that's real big,
Jackass and all that.
No, the one where they go, it's like three friends, American pranksters, or I don't know. What's the name of that show?
I was thinking of one with Ashton Kutcher, which is
no,
Punk'd.
but what's the one now? It's still big. It's all over.
I don't know.
You know, it's like three people, Sal's in it. These guys.
The Impractical Jokers.
It was before Impractical Jokers. So, we would go places like that. My buddy, he'd meet people. One of my funniest friends in my life is my buddy Dave, and he would just go, we met Mr. Sports, and he'd just go up to him and just shake his hand or something and be like, not speak any English. And the dude, he was just such a good actor at it. He'd just be like, the old... we grew up watching Billy Madison and Tom Green, so we did that type of stuff. And it was fun. These pranks nowadays, I'm like, these are the asshole pranks. Like throwing water balloons at people and stuff like that. You know, I think just messing with somebody is funny, because then they're like, people.
I love a gentle ribbing. I love an old-fashioned prank call.
Oh, okay.
I like saying, I don't know, like the old silly thing of, it's funny. You could do it with an app now. It just never worked. Like where you make the 2 phone calls, call each other, the Chinese restaurant calls, the pizza place. I didn't call you, whatever. Everybody's like, oh, I didn't call you, whatever. But the big ending is that's gentle.
Yeah.
Calling up and saying, your mother's dead.
Or even people I got squirted in Washington Square Park by a guy, and I feel like I'm probably on some viral video being mad. I didn't know what it was. I thought they spit on me or something. I was laying there tanning, and I got wet, and I just couldn't figure it out. And I went up to the guy, and I figured out what they were doing later, and they were just randomly squirting people with a squirt gun. But I think even something like that, you got to tell people, hey, man, we just squirted you, it was just water. Because I started thinking in my mind, man, is this bleach? You never know. Because I go on TikTok, people are doing crazy stuff.
I'm convinced. Or is it this is the stuff that I was afraid of before COVID. Is this the super germ that's going to turn you in? Is it acid? Is it going to make you unhealthy?
You turn into Spider-Man or something?
Yeah, somebody's piss, or something I never liked the idea of, hey, I jerked off into the soap machine, and now everybody's got my cum on their hands.
Oh, my God. I'm done washing my hands now.
Oh, my God. Anyway, Dom, I'm proud of your success. I love it when you come here to share stories. And, dude, every time you come here, I feel like I know you a little bit better, and I appreciate the time.
Yeah, no, I do, too. I feel like we get into these things, and then... I don't know. I hope it wraps up. It goes by so fast.
It does. Let's wrap this show. Folks, it was a great question to start with. And it's a great question. If I'm allowed to be deep for a minute, it isn't do you see that guy in the middle of the picture over there? That's my friend Father Lou. He was a priest. He never asked, what do you do? He asked, who are you?
That's deep.
Yeah, and it's funny. It wasn't until my friend Joe Sledge pointed that out. I thought that was always bad grammar.
Wow.
Or just him screwing around. He was an Italian priest from Connecticut. Who are you, man? I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
But I kind of like what you just said there. And I think that's a question for you guys to ask yourself. What do you want people to know about you? I don't have an answer for myself. I don't want to take this great episode and change it, but I will probably ask myself that question on a future episode. What do I want people to know about Tom Kelly? But honestly, I already have the title. What do you want, Dom? What do you want to know about Dom Leonelli? Or what does Dom Leonelli want you to know about Dom Leonelli? Is a great title for the show. Yeah. So listen, if you're a fan of Dom's and you came in here, hit subscribe on my show. I'm pretty awesome too. And if you're a fan of mine, go check out Dom's Instagram. That's where the real party is. All the links will be in the show notes on my website, TomKellyShow.com. Hit like, share the episode, show love where love can be shown. Oh, I haven't done a magic mirror in a while. Quick magic mirror to Alexis, who found my stuff via Instagram and actually started subscribing to the podcast. And a special shout out to the North Belmore Runners Club. I see you. New podcasts every Monday and Wednesday at TomKellyShow.com and across the board on all the apps as Tom Kelly Show. Until next time, good night, Youngstown.
Do I say anything? I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we keep it going. Yeah, go.
I just wanted to say real quick, when it comes to what do you want to know about Dom Leonelli, it's not just, my buddy drove into some people's cars. I know that's just the story I was getting into. What I would want you to know about me, just follow me on Dry Salami podcast, because I just don't want you guys to think, this, what do you know about me? That my buddy drove into cars. All right, so I was getting into
No. I was asking that as a comedian. Oh, God, now we got to do a third podcast about you as a human being.
I just want, real quick, just that just having fun with my friends is, I guess I just like having. It's all around.
No,
wait.
No, you're apologizing.
One second. I'm not apologizing. I just wanted to say. I know you'll probably edit it anyway. I wasn't trying to say driving into people's cars. I was just saying I guess. I was just saying I grew up around a lot of crazy people coming up, so I tell some of those stories and. You know, I keep, you know, sometimes I get a train of thought going where I just want to say a word.
Or could I tell you what I heard? Because I think you're getting self-conscious.
No, I'm not.
Or I'll tell you what I heard is I grew up in a crazy world. I may have survived some craziness that you're not supposed to survive. And here I am as a productive person in society now. That's what I hear when and this is the difference between you and other comics. If I thought you were encouraging people to go to Perkins and drive your car into other people's cars, I would say, geez, this isn't the podcast for you. What I hear in you is I grew up in a weird place. And I have turned that weird place into something productive and a story that I'm telling.
Yeah.
And as a guy who grew up in a different kind of weird place, I have found that inspiring as I'm still trying to find my own voice. And frankly, dude, again, you telling the story about your wacky experience in Youngstown, Ohio, has me talking about the fact that my hometown has an accused serial killer. The fact that, Joe Larson had a great bit on the show a couple weeks ago that, you're right, where I'm from is still a place where it's acceptable to be a little bit homophobic or maybe I just grew up in a time when it felt okay to be a little homophobic and I survived that with my own weirdness. And yeah, man, just to be very, very clear to Dom and everybody else, Dom is not a serial killer. Dom is not a mass murderer. Neither were his friends. And you know what, man? There's also something to be said about, knowing where you're from without necessarily saying we should still be doing the things we did when we were in the places where we're from. And I don't think I heard you saying that. Is that fair?
Yeah, no, I think I was just getting into a story at that point in time, and I forgot the point I was getting to. So,
well, what's the point? Do you have a point now? Well, it's okay, but the story's still good because you know what it is? The story is still interesting in that. Actually, let me say this the right way. The story, there's a little bit of me in that story, and I think there's a little bit of many of our listeners in that story. Everybody has that one friend who was a little too crazy who could have wound up in jail. And I'm from a town of people where rich people, in my mind, and a lot of the, more people than I should admit, wound up in prison for something. I'll give away detail. No, and listen, more guys, like when I moved from Brooklyn out to Long Island, my mother would use phrases like, we're rich now. You know, you don't need to go on vacation. You have a lawn.
Yeah.
No, and she wasn't
too much.
And dude, I'm in a neighborhood that was middle class when I was growing up and is now upper middle class. Actually, so upper middle class, I don't think I could afford to move back there. Or I don't know if I want to pay the money to move back there is probably the better way to say that. And yeah, and being real, like part of my success lately has been getting back to some of the things that I might be a little bit even ashamed of, or I may have never been comfortable with. Listen, not necessarily my friends, but kids from the neighborhoods who I was friends with, or kids I loved but may not have been good friends with. One kid robbed a 7-Eleven. Now it's funny to kind of tell that story right now, like I'm smiling at it. But yeah, there was a real victim.
Yeah.
But we know it's a bad thing. I guess
I'm not trying to say, what I was trying to get to was, I guess the point now I remembered now. Yeah. If I can get it out.
Get it out.
I remember. So I started trying to be around this group of kids where all we did was try to make each other laugh. So once we came into that to where it was 24/7 when we seen each other, we made each other laugh, versus where I fell into the pit in New York to where it was 24/7 we see each other and people will complain. And so what I was getting to was basically, now that I'm back to my friends, that as soon as I call them, it's not, man, you believe this, we're doing that, this ain't working, I can't figure this out. It's, yo, what's up, man? Yo, how you doing? Yo, dude, how about I went to a gas station? This girl said this. And then,
I saw that coming.
God telling me not to do it. But basically, just be around people that make you laugh, and that's who Dominic Leonelli is. Dominic Leonelli is somebody.
No, and dude, I've never done a post tape this long, where the studio actually started falling apart. For those of you listening to the audio version, it's all right. Just hold it with your hand. Just hold it with your hand. No, it's not going to clip there. Just hold it with your hand because don't fuck up the flow.
It's over.
No, we have a flow. Don't fuck up the flow. Because here's the other thing I heard in today's show that I'm going to hear again when I edit. You know what, man? I've been a bummer to be around the last few years. I've been that. No, not maybe not to you. But you know what? Like my friend Andrew Tavani asked me, how are things going? And I told him, well, man, I'm just trying to figure out the algorithm still and trying to figure out why this bit's on doing well. I mean, I'm complaining about my success. I'm complaining that my success is here and not everywhere. I hear I hear a little bit of the very same angry comedian voice. And again, that's not necessarily everything you're saying, but you know what I heard in that is, hey, even though you weren't saying it to Tom, I bring people like you who can give me wisdom on the show. And what I heard there was, like, you know what, man? Maybe more of your friends will start calling. And it's been my slogan for the year. If you get back to the positivity, get back to the fun.
Yeah, and that's what Dominic Leonelli is somebody that's like, I'm this guy that just wants to make you laugh and have fun and make you just laugh hard. And that's who, when you ask who Dominic Leonelli is, it's that guy, you know. That,
well, but now what's funny is I took a question you said on the last podcast. And this podcast is definitely airing first because this is, no, we got the energy. But you said something at the end about performing. And you're like, well, when I go on stage, I want to tell people what I want them to know about me. Which just sounds like a basic rule for stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
But when you think about what I do on my act, which is, by the way, brilliant. I'm not beating myself up.
Nah, you're a killer.
I'm a killer. But I go up and tell people stuff I would not necessarily want you to know about me at a party.
Wow.
You know, like if you think about it, hey man, I'm single. I'm the, you know, like, and honestly, and as I get further away from some of the things that made me great, or not made me great, but I am known for, like when I would do The View or the Good Morning America or warm up a show or host a show, I would go out and be, I would be self-effacing, maybe say the things I don't want you to know about me, but there was always the fun energy.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And listen, what are the downsides and upsides of unlimited stage time in a podcast? Is, you know, you can end the show and somehow start recording again.
Yeah.
But it's also that, you know what, you could start getting into, like, I'm a bummer now, and this girl turned me down for this. Like, I mean, listen, I fell in love a couple within the last month. For the sake of this story.
Hey.
Yeah, no. And then the girl shot me down 2 seconds later. You know, like, or let's put it like this. It very little gets me excited anymore. Something got me excited for 5 minutes, and it was not meant to be. You would have thought I was divorced and lost half my money in it.
Wow.
And you know what? Maybe, I mean, even without getting into the weird guy I encountered on the beach with the samurai sword, which is so much of a better tease in one sentence than the whole story.
Yeah.
You go, maybe there's a way to focus on the positive things of wherever the hell you're at. Like, you know, even you complimented my apartment. Like, yeah, well, they might kick me out in August. That's 8 months away.
Enjoy it while you got it.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm talking about, well, I don't know. They're turning the building into an Airbnb, one apartment at a time. You know, that's not, you know, all I had to say was thank you.
Yeah.
You know, but to your point about getting back to fun people too, you're right. I mean, listen, I have comedian friends in the places we've been, and they're all kind of, you know, good comics who may or may not be stuck at a level, and somehow I'm at that level stuck with them. And even in my jokes, and I'm the one rambling now.
I'm loving it though.
No, but even in my jokes, like, do you know Olga Namer?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Olga I know from Long Island. I showed her what I thought was a funny video. It was the TikTok trend, the perspective trend. I'm a Long Island comedian, so of course this happens. You know, like, you know, you remember that? Or
yeah,
I'm a real estate agent. Of course I ask you, are you planning to move anytime soon? Whatever. You know, I'm a red-haired girl. Of course people call me Ginger. Whatever, you know, again, then it'll be that beat over and over again. So I did one for Long Island comedian that I haven't released. In part because I did about 8 edits on it that just none felt quite right. And she had a great line when I showed her one. She goes, Tom, where is the love in it?
Oh.
And if you look, like, and it's funny, one of the things I think about, like, comedian, like I hate Long Island jokes or making fun of Long Island jokes is there is love in it. I love where I'm from.
Yeah.
And I know that it is messy, and I know that I have to be careful bragging about where I'm from in certain circles. I am from a neighborhood, or I'm at least raised by people who are raised in neighborhoods where there might have been people who knew people in the mob. You just didn't associate with them or ask them too many questions.
Right.
I had like things like that, or, I knew people who have gotten arrested for drunk driving and drugs. And I'm only just starting to talk about that with a slight smile on my face, even though it is tragic.
Right.
But I love it. It's who I am. It's where I'm from.
Yeah, you can't.
But I'm not bragging. I don't want that necessarily for my children or the people who experience that, but it's part of who I am. It's part of my common experience. Guess what? I'm from a town with a goddamn serial killer.
It's insane.
But you got to almost say that what went wrong with us, that none of us knew what was happening.
Right.
And if you don't laugh at things, you don't grow up either.
Yeah.
And even you saying I dropped out of high school, I don't think if you had kids, you'd want them to drop out, blah, blah, blah.
No, I wouldn't.
But it is part of who you are, and it made you special, and you're able to laugh about it. So it's like with me, getting back to, I guess it's two ways to say it. I guess at the end of the day, I asked you the deep version and turned it into a comedy show, and then you got scared that I didn't, not scared.
No, I didn't get scared.
But you know what I mean? But I cheapened out on you.
I just, I guess it takes time to say a story.
No, but it's not just a story. But I love what you said when we started this long fucking post tape.
Even like dropping out. I don't know if but like when I did drop out of school, if I could say like just a quick experience of my life, like get through it. And when I dropped out, I remember lying to the teacher because like I was telling her, "Oh yeah, I'm getting a construction job, making like $1,000 a day," because I was just like, I got mad, I was so sensitive. This teacher's like, "You're never gonna amount to nothing," And I was like, "Oh yeah, well actually I'm quitting school because I got a construction job." And then I'm telling her $1,000 a day. Even the guidance counselor was like, I would take that job. Like, $1,000 a day.
Was like, I would quit being a guidance counselor with a pension.
Because I'm a good liar. And I'd be like, yeah, my cousins, they build houses, and my cousins do. So there's always some element of truth. And I'd be like, yeah, they build houses. I'm a labor for them, do some concrete work. It's just more what I'm meant to do. And she's like, wow, that's a lot of money, Dominic. She's like, I would jump on that. And then I remember I seen her like 3 months later, and she's like, wow, you're also making gyros. This is crazy. You're working here.
How are you able to handle this gyro job for $4 an hour while you're all busy making $1,000 a week?
Yeah, you're working 2 jobs. And it's like, well, I got to take care of something in the back. You got to make that money,
So, and I guess I'll end on this. Is you asked a great question as a comic, and I think it's a question to ask as a person, which is, what do you want people to know about Dom Leonelli on stage? What do you want audiences to know about Dom Leonelli? And the other question, again, I challenge the audience to ask it, what do you want people in real life to know about you? Do you have an answer for that, or you don't have to now?
No, I do. The same thing I'd want to do on stage, like the way that we'd say, I used to go on stage, and I would never say that in front of my friends. The stuff I'm saying on stage, I would never go up to a regular person and be like, oh, this and that. But now, now that I've been talking to my friends a lot and hanging with them, I know what I do. I just go up and I'll just be myself. Like, I'm not going to be like, I love long-term relationships when I'm talking to my buddy. So now when I just go on stage, I treat the audience like they're my friends. So what you're going to hear from me is I secretly, honestly, I'll be honest with you, I started trying to do a little Mr. Rogers secretly in my set to where, I don't know if you ever
I've been doing that since the pandemic.
Yeah, when you see that Mr. Rogers, man, I remember growing up watching Mr. Rogers. He makes you feel good, and he'll slightly teach people about their life without you knowing it. When I'm on stage, and I like to be like, hey, don't be so negative. Don't hate your job. Slightly I'm teaching. I think I'm teaching people. I'm reminding people, not teaching them, but I like to remind people that, that just have some little bit of fun. And when you're hanging with me, you're just going to hang with a friend. We're going to kick it on the back porch. I'm going to tell you some stories about my life, and I'm going to just be myself around you. Like, you're my best friend. And that's what I want people to know that about Dominic Leonelli. I'm trying to be everybody's friend and crack up with you when I meet a stranger. Just because maybe their shoes don't look the same. You might be like, oh, his hair is a little messed up. But it's cool to be like, nah, man, sit down over here. What's up? What's your name? And then you find out, wow, this dude owns a high-end fashion store. I just went through this. People were like, I don't know. And something told me, man, have this dude sit down. Who cares if he's struggling a little off? And we start talking to him. He sells vintage shirts. We look at his store. The cheapest shirt at his store is $2,500. Dude's a multimillionaire, and everybody we were hanging with was treating this dude like he's homeless. And we start talking to him. He's 25. He's like, I see in a huge market for thrifting shirts, and I just always go out and buy them. And, and he goes, he knows all about this shirt. And, and he's got shirts for like $4,500 that people buy in California. And everybody was like, yo, this dude's weird. So, and then I sat with this guy, and he's a best friend for the rest of my life, So it's something to be said about that. I don't know, but that's who Dominic is.
I love it. And it seems to be the same guy on and off stage a bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
I like that. All right, folks, I'm not going to give you who is Tom Kelly today because I have to do some reflecting on that, both for the comedian, the podcast audience, and the real person. Folks, this is the first time we've ever done a part 2 that's even longer than the part 1, which is really a part 3. I'm not even sure. But listen, all the announcements. The links to Dom will be on the show notes. Good night, New York. Anything else? I'm going to hit stop.
That's it.
All right. And wait, hang on. No. That was... I'm just creating a sync point for the video.